that I'll shout out, that this person said that their family is now doing the tough love thing to them because they've been through it so many times, and now they see it from a different light. So those mistakes have to be made on their part. The mistakes that we have to make to learn our own way, because like we've said, people, the suggestions that people give us. Yeah, that sounds all right, but I'll try it this way because I got to learn.
Mm-hmm.
We did it. I know you did it, and you know I did it, and I know you did it. You watched me do it for the past year. Well, secondhand.
Mm.
And that's the unfortunate thing about this is sometimes people have to make that mistake, and now sometimes they don't come back from that mistake.
Right.
And that's the one thing that, like I mentioned in the top of the high low, some people don't come back, and that part being in the recovery community, whether you work in the industry, whether you are just a part of the industry, or whether you do anything, that part, the loss is there regardless. Another friend of mine, her kid's father was dead, and she says, "Why do people around me keep dying?" And I was like, "Because people are going to die. It just depends on how you react to it. Because people are going to die whether we're sober or using." So yeah, those numbers don't lie.
The guy said today too, his sister had relapsed, and he is a drinker, and I don't think. I mean, maybe he associated addiction with just being what it is, addiction.
Right.
But I don't know. The way he said, she's doing dope again, and okay, and how could she do that? She has a kid. Okay, the only reason why I didn't drink when I had a kid is because I didn't have a kid.
Holy crap!
That wouldn't have stopped. I would have just been a horrible father. That's why women didn't want to have kids with me. Probably.
Right. And, there's kind of how we both have this kind of way about us. I make sure whether I'm in any type of meeting, and I know it's risque, but I make sure whether I'm in an AA meeting or an NA meeting, I reference the fact that I'm a raging alcoholic. But if I'm in an AA meeting, I also reference the fact that I was a heroin addict, because that was a part of my life that took a long time to get over and took a big hold on me. And so sometimes I feel like those comments are directed at me, or that's just how they express their feelings. And this person did mention, that he wants to be there for the kid. And that's good. But kind of the way he said something about it was, I don't know. And, he's doing good. Obviously, he's still going to meetings, but I like to peel the layers back, but I just first met the guy, so I really don't have a biased opinion. I'm sure he's a solid guy, but there's a guy in the house who we were getting tested for HIV, Jesus Christ, crap, Hep C. Oh, I wasn't a drug addict. I wasn't a dope head. I didn't use needles. Oh, really? You didn't want me to hear you say that now because I made reference to that 3 times that night.
Yeah, it's like going to an ice cream shop and being like, "Oh, I'll just have the sherbet. I don't need that other stuff over there.
Do you have any gelato? Because
I don't want you
to eat the ice cream. Yeah. Or you eat chocolate ice cream?
Oh my God, I would never eat chocolate ice cream.
I cannot believe ever eating chocolate ice cream.
Not like those people.
I'm not like those chocolate ice cream.
Just living in a sober living house. And, I'm better than these guys.
I'm in a sober living house, but I didn't eat. I'm in a sober ice cream house, but God forbid I eat chocolate.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where, those situations, they'll throw up red flags to me, but it's not my job to fix anybody. It's not my job to tell him, "Hey man, be careful with that." I don't really know that guy either. But when he did say that kind of stuff, like he was I'm doing this for somebody else, it's kind of like,
yeah.
I was there once.
Yep,
I did it for Becca. I did it for Katrina. I did it for my sister. I did it for my nephews, and those times didn't work
I
out.
was gonna say, what's crazy? You know who you didn't say you did it for either of those times? Yeah.
Yes, this time I'm doing it for me.
Right, because guess what? I did it exactly for my parents. I did it because I was homeless. I did it because I was going to try to get my kids' mom back. I was going to try to get my kids back in my life. And guess what? Again, I didn't do it for me. And we're doing it for ourselves today. Yeah. And I'm blessed to have you sitting in a room doing this with me, in a house doing this with me, working this road together. And just having the opportunity to sit down and have chicken and pizza and meals and podcasts and laugh, true, genuine, sober laughs with somebody that, I mentioned today on a car ride with Tyrone and you that I actually mentioned in the meeting too, but when I came up here, I wasn't going to tell anybody about what I did, what I was. I wasn't going to, now I wear my 217 recovery sweatshirt to work. And people at my job are like, "Oh, why are you up here?" "Oh, well, I'm in a sober house." "Oh, I'm a heroin addict. I was a heroin addict." And then you get people, and that's what I've said it before, people that don't know you from anything say, "Well, you're on our prayer book at church. I don't know if you pray, but you're in our prayer book." Because I can see. I've worked with you for 3 weeks, and I can see from what you've told me in the 20, 30 minutes of what you did in your life, I can see you're doing good. I can see you're changing. I can see that you can do this. And you can do this, and it's the bonds, the relationships, the friendships, the caring, the people that you don't think would give two craps about you when you're out there using. Because guess what? We're out there being a piece of crap. But now making it to work every day. You're having conversations with people. You're not. I mean, you cuss people out once in a while at work, but it's only because they deserve it.
Yeah,
but maybe they don't. But the people that, God, people see something in me that I'm starting to see a little bit, the colors are starting to come back. And it's cool.
Yeah, and those people, too, that maybe you just met in passing back in Battle Creek, the people that I maybe even forgot I knew in Benton Harbor or Coloma or maybe Fort Smith, Arkansas, or Dallas or San Antonio, wherever. And that they're thinking, "Oh, Corey can never do it," and now, wait, Corey's doing it, or, "Oh, look what Chris is doing," and they start thinking, "Wait, Chris Goss? You mean Chris Goss?"
Yeah,
I know him. Oh, they haven't listened to podcasts for weeks now, and I know Chris Goss.
That's him?
I thought it was Chris Goss.
Wow,
and
that's where Chris went. I thought there was a guy that had a name similar to him that's staying up there in that same city.
But those people are going to listen, and they're going to look up to us and look up to you, and just think, "Wow, if Chris is doing it, like I never thought that dude could do it.
Right.
And he's doing it? Like, well, hell, if Chris can do it, I can do it."
Right.
He was down in his mom's basement, I mean, come on. Like, in those kind of situations, and those things are going to happen, and they are probably happening right now. And that's cool. But at the same time, and this is something that we'll just have to take as it goes, but people love to root for the underdog, and at first it's, when people ask, "Well, how's Chris doing?" I'm like, "Chris doing great." "Oh, really?" Like they'd be surprised.
Yeah.
And then, "How's Chris doing?" "Oh, he's still doing great." "Huh." And every time they would get a little, "Well, I'm glad for him. That's good, and I mean, I knew he was going to make it."
Yeah.
"Oh, really?" Because you were surprised as hell when you asked about him, and I told you he was doing great. Like, you looked at me like I was lying to you, and so then they jump on board, and then it's just a great, "Oh yeah," but they're waiting.
Oh yeah, they're sitting in the back,
waiting
they're
for the
sitting in the
fall
back, the nosebleeds, just like, "I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch this." Because the show that I put on before, and the people that know me from the institute, the facility that I was at, I had a pattern of things. So, 80 plus days now, they're still waiting. You might as well get a bowl of ice cream.
Hating and waiting.
Right. Get a bowl of ice cream, because I'm going to go to sleep tonight and put that bowl of ice cream outside. Hope it doesn't melt. Because if I get up tomorrow, and let's just say I make it through, you're going to wait another day.
Yeah. And not saying that everybody, and especially people, if you're listening right now, I'm not saying that you are waiting for us to fall, or waiting for Chris or Ryan or myself or Anna or any of us to fall. But it's like I've said this a million times. Jason Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
You remember, have I told this with you, Ron? Yeah. And he hits all these home runs in the home run derby, and, people love him. And then a couple of years later, he's getting drunk on a bar with his shirt off, and, I can't believe I do that. And so it's like it's just society, that they love it, and then they love to burn it up,
Right.
Like, let's start this baby on fire and let's throw him through it. But, hopefully we don't have to do that. But what that guy was saying in the meeting, though, back to that about his sister and her relapse and the kid and all that, the kid, can't believe she's doing this with the kid. She has a kid. No, she's doing in death. Death can happen. And
right.
It's not about her wanting to do it. There's a problem in her life that is eating her up, and she's trying to escape it. That is what's in death is not scaring her.
Right. When I left the facility the first time, I said, "Oh God, death scares me this time," and I was full of crap because it just worried me. Because it never scared me because I was never scared to do what I did. But she has a kid. And the way I think of it, she's got a kid. How could she do it to the kid? Well, guess what? That kid came around and she had a problem. And now, like I always say, something's happening in her life that she's either not dealing with, something dealing that she hasn't talked about. And what does she do? She resorts to what she knows and did best to escape that problem that she's not talking about. There's problems that guys in this house haven't talked about. There's problems that people in sober houses and recovery, some people call it sobriety, they're just not, they're talking about everything else but one or two things. Or they're talking about a lot of things, just not the right thing. They're not peeling back the final layer of the onion. They're not fully unzipping and letting all that crap out.
And until they do, it's just going to be a repeat. What was it? Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. And that's why I suggest, people in the house, and you have a therapist you go to, Mrs. Bootyomes, or what's her name?
Dr. Angelface.
Oh, yeah.
Good grief.
And, wait, did I just?
Yeah, you did.
No, I was adjusting myself.
Now she can't listen to the podcast when I'm going to give her a shout out.
Well,
sexual relationship. Oh my God, what is he saying?
She doesn't listen anyway. But
what if I tell you that we listen to the podcast? We've listened to the podcast a few times during my session time, where I should be talking about me. She listens to us for 4 or 5 minutes.
Are you getting paid for that?
I don't know.
Is she giving you donations?
She lets me wear her watch during the session.
Nice.
And I usually get rides home in her car.
Oh, well, yeah.
Shameless plug for Audi.
It's working out for you then.
But the crazy thing is, a real sidebar on that,
Yeah.
She took me home. She was willing to come in on a Saturday because my work schedule has been all funky. I got to be to work at 5 a.m. still. But, because she sees something that's worth investing some time, because she's worried that I was going to die, just like you were worried I was going to die, just like Kendra was worried I was going to die, just like everybody else was worried I was going to die, just like Anna was worried I was going to die, and they see that I'm doing crap different, that I'm working, that I'm doing things that I never did before, like I said before in a podcast, she's like, you actually made the phone call to get money, to get funding, you filled out an application to a sober living house, and you did this all in 2 weeks when you've been here in a total of 4 months. Total, not consecutive, but a total of 4 months, maybe. So, yeah, man, it's like, you got to do it for yourself so that you can be good for whoever you want to be good for. Because you're no good to them if you're no good to yourself.
Right. And earlier you mentioned, like, the people that were around and the people that, can help us in. One guy who was living here for, a little while, doesn't live here anymore, but he, I think, was a huge role for you too, and a role model. And, unfortunately he's not here anymore, but, I think that played a big part in your life too. And he was your roommate.
Yeah.
And, and it was crazy because that day that we did the top 5, bottom 5 just the other day, and my number 1 bottom 5 was Rob not being a part of 217 recovery morning. He was in room 217 with me. He started, on this journey with me in the sober living house over at Nathan's. And then